Good morning. Just a quick video before I go. It's a Sunday morning and unfortunately my new job, I work a Saturday and a Sunday. Anyway, yeah, I just came back from Spain, Lanzarote, one of the Canary Islands, just 2 nights ago. And while we were there, we were staying in some holiday bungalow sort of things, a bit outside of a resort called Playa Blanca, which is a fantastic resort and probably one of the best ones of all the ones I've been in the Canary Islands. Lovely. And the weather was fantastic and it was all good and what have you. And we used to go out, because I always hire a car when we go away, and we went out. I didn't, driving around a few towns and, visiting other beaches, what have you. And I never saw any carters at all. Now, I was surprised, but I didn't see any in the resort I was in. We walked up and down it, every day, never saw any. But one day we were coming back into our complexes of bungalows. And as I was driving down, you could see 3 women dressed proper with like shoulder bags, and as we're coming down the roads, and I went, oh my God, there's Jehovah's Witnesses. And it's the first Jehovah's Witnesses I've seen out preaching for years, because of course of COVID they were nowhere to be seen. And I was going, my God, yes, that's definitely Jehovah's Witnesses. So I thought nothing more of it. I thought I'm not going to go out and talk to them, obviously. And then I turned down into, you turn a little lane, which is the wee entrance to the 3 properties, and we're in the middle one. And as I turned into that, guess who's chapping the very apartment door of where we're staying? Yes, 2 Jehovah's Witnesses, and there were another 4 with them as well. I went, I don't believe this, I was like, taken aback. And I've said this about, I've wanted to sort of not talk about witnessy things unless all of a sudden it hits me in the face. And this is just one of the cases where all of a sudden, if you're trying to, escape from something, that you don't have to go out your way. If you're even trying to go out your way not to be involved with it, they're still there. They're still, I'm going to do another video about a letter received when I came back from holiday. And there they were, and I sort of parked up the car as they were leaving the door, and as they were coming out, there was a young boy there, the youngest one. I said, are you Jehovah's Witnesses? And he said, sí. And I just thought, right, I wonder if they've heard of Tony Morris. I wonder if they know the Tony Morris news. And I said, Tony Morris, bye-bye. Tony Morris, bye-bye. And they were looking at me. They didn't know. The name Tony Morris meant nothing. I says, Anthony Morris the Third. And it became obvious when more gathered round. I now had an audience of 6 of them. None of them could speak English at all, apart from one of the girls turned up later on. She says, I speak a little. None of them could speak English. And I was going, Anthony Morris, and they all just look at each other like, who's Anthony Morris? So I luckily the apartment, I was bouncing off the Wi-Fi in the apartment, and I googled quickly Anthony Morris. I says Tony Morris. I showed a picture of Tony Morris. Tony Morris. See, Tony Morris. Yes, Tony Morris. See, Tony Morris says, Tony Morris, bye-bye. And they're going, and I was going, no longer member of, I was speaking here, no longer member of governing body. And they were just looking at me thinking, what is he on about? And it's pretty obvious that they clearly didn't know that it was bye-bye for Tony Morris. And again, I've said this before, a relative of mine didn't even know it was bye-bye for Tony Morris. And so now I'm in a different country, and they didn't know, they didn't realise that Tony Morris had been removed, and they gave me a phone over. One of the young guy gave me his phone, and it was Google Translate. And so I had to then put into it, speak English. It says, Tony Morris, no longer a member of the governing body. And then it translated into Spanish, and next thing is I showed them all. I showed them all. The translation and you could see You could hear a pin drop. You should have seen their faces. They're at the point thinking, no, this can't be true. And of course, the guy started speaking to me back in Spanish. I was thinking, I don't know what you're saying. So the next thing is, he gave me the phone back again. And I just said to him, give me the phone back again. You know, I was obviously supposed to expand on why Morris. And I just put in, Tony Morris, no longer a member of the governing body. And I said to him, it says, but why? But why? So I did that like this, and they're all looking at each other going like this. You know, they were just like doing this sort of thing. And I just said. And I just went like this. I was just like looked at them like this, and I gave the signal. I did this myself. Went, you know, in other words, to say, my God, if you don't know, how am I supposed to know? So we left on those terms. But yeah, unfortunately, I'd like to talk to them a little bit more. My wife obviously scuttled away very, very quickly. It was a very brief conversation. It lasted all of 5 minutes, but it just shows that even going to another country that they did not know about Tony Morris. But it was, I must say, I was encouraged to see, because I, you know, laboured so many years out chapping strangers' doors. It was good to see them actually out trying to talk to people instead of just standing there as the silent carting witnesses. So yeah, you know, that's it. So I just thought to say, for those who say I've not seen Jehovah's Witnesses chapping my door, well, they actually have chapped my door, but it was just the holiday rental door that we lived in Spain. And as much as I try to escape from my past and connection with Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, which keeps on bringing me back occasionally, as I did say I didn't want to do this ever again. You know, you just sometimes you just can't escape your past at all. So that's it. Yes, Jehovah's Witnesses are back out in the house-to-house preaching work, and many of them still do not know about Tony Morris. They don't. Anyway, I've got to get ready now, take the dog for a walk and work. But luckily I'm only working 10 minutes away from the house, so I'll come back at lunchtime because I've got another video about a letter I got on my return. Anyway, bye-bye. See, Tony Morris, yeah.